Hi, my name is Manny, and I'm going to teach you how to set up your clarinet and make your first sound. Now, you're probably going to have some kind of a case like this. It's going to have some latches and a handle so you can pick it up and take it with you. The first time you open the case, you have to be careful about which way the latches go. See how the latches go up like this? So before you even open the case, you got to make sure that when you unlatch it, that they're facing upwards, so that way the instrument itself is in the bottom of the case. If I were to open it the other way around, and the latches are pointing down, if I were to lift this top part, every single part would come out and fall and would probably break, and that's not good. So make sure you get your case, latches are pointing upwards. Double check to see that the instrument is on the bottom half right here. And here we go. This is our clarinet. It is in a lot of pieces. It might be a little overwhelming at first, but don't worry. I'm going to take you through it, and we're going to figure this out together, okay? So first, we can go ahead and grab the mouthpiece and the barrel. So these are your first two things that you're going to assemble right here. What we can do with the mouthpiece is we can take the mouthpiece cover off, and it exposes our mouthpiece right here. And so if you notice, there's a big hole right here, and we got to cover that with our reed. Now you may or may not have a reed, but if you do, it's going to look like this. It's going to be kind of small. What you can do is take it out of the little case, and you're going to have to wet it with your mouth, with spit. This is why you always brush your teeth, kids, because your reeds are going to smell bad if you don't. So get it in your mouth, and get your saliva on it. Get it nice and wet. Very woody taste. You get used to it after a while. But once you get your reed nice and wet, what you can do is you can unscrew your ligature, which is this silver thing right here. Loosen the screws so that way it kind of just slips off. Put that aside for now. And now what you want to do is you want to take your reed, and the first time you put it on your mouthpiece, you want to put it on flat side up against the mouthpiece. And you want to make sure that the end of the reed is matching up with the end of the mouthpiece, that it's not too far up or too far down, that it's just kind of just right, and that it's straight along the bottom of the mouthpiece, like that. There you go. And once you got it in place, for the most part, you can just slide the ligature back on. Make sure that the screws are facing to the right, and look to see how far down it goes. I've learned that for clarinets, your ligature should only be like maybe, what is that, like a centimeter or two below this little line right there. See that right there? So that looks pretty good. I'm going to make sure that my screws and the little thing is right in the middle, down the center, and I'm going to tighten them. Once you get pretty good at it, what you should do is you shouldn't even have to take the ligature off. You can just loosen it and slip the reed right in, because the way I just did it, you risk chipping the end of the reed, but that's not something we'll worry about for now. So if it's all assembled right, you should be able to attach it to the barrel. See how there's a smaller side and a bigger side? Slip it into the smaller side, like that. And if it doesn't slip in, this is something I've had to use a lot, you can use Cork Grease, which you're probably going to find in your case. It looks like chapstick. Don't put it on your lips. Don't put it on your lips, it's very bad. What you can use, you can take it out. It's going to be this like weird, greasy looking stuff. This right here is the cork, and the cork's going to be at the end of every little joint right here that you attach each part to. And if it's not sliding on, you can go ahead and kind of grease it up. And once it's all greased up, slide it onto the barrel, and it should go on easier if you're having troubles. I don't have troubles with mine because mine's already greased up. Once you got it like that, you should be able to just set that aside for now. So we're going to assemble the rest of the clarinet, and this is where the fun part starts. So these two joints might get confusing if you haven't experienced a clarinet enough, but what I can tell you is one of them goes on top and one of them goes on bottom. The one that goes on top is going to be this one right here. This is the upper joint, and you can tell that it's the upper joint usually because there's going to be like a logo right here, and because there's cork on both sides. That's kind of the dead giveaway, along with these like keys right here. But you always want to look for the cork on both sides. If I look at the lower joint, which is right here, there's only cork on one side, and there is a little in part right here that you'd slip the upper joint onto. So that's how you tell the upper joint from the lower joint. We're going to take the lower joint, which you can also identify with this little thumb rest right here that you'll use once it's all assembled, and we'll take our bell. Bell's going to be right here. And what you can do is you can take the bell and you can attach it to the lower joint by kind of firmly gripping the lower joint, but making sure not to press down any of the silver bits, the keys or the rods or anything, so you don't want to bend them. You can put it on, and it's going to kind of give a little bit of a resistance. If you can twist it back and forth. And remember, if you need to, you can use the Cork Grease. I'm going to go ahead and put that on to show it again. There we go. All the way around. Now it should slip on easier. Let's see. And once it goes on, what you do is you twist back and forth. Kind of push on, and you can use your hand like this, and boom, it should go on. Just like that. And one easy way to line it up is if your clarinet has any kind of logos, match logo to logo like that. So I got bam, bam. Got that little beautiful Silmer logo. Now once that's attached, let's go ahead and put the top part on. And for good measure, I'm just going to put Cork Grease because it's going to make it easier. Now that we got that on that part. To attach the upper joint to the rest of the clarinet, you got to be careful about one thing. There's this little part hanging off the end right here. And what this is an extension of this key right here. When you press it, see how it moves up? Like that. You want to press the middle key in order to move this up to attach this to the clarinet, the rest of the clarinet, because if you don't, you could damage this part, which is not good. So I'm going to press that key down, and I'm going to attach it to the rest of the clarinet by just kind of slowly sliding it on, using the back and forth motion to twist, and boom. We appear to be good. You usually want to line this up by seeing how this little extension of that key hits right there. Kind of line it up right there. You can also line it up using holes. Make sure that they're all kind of lined up in the middle right here. And again, logo, logo, logo. That looks pretty good. It's all lined up. All we need to do is put the mouthpiece and the barrel on the top, like so. And that goes on. And again, I can match logo to logo to logo to logo, all them together. And boom, you got your clarinet. Got the reed on, the mouthpiece, the barrel, upper joint, lower joint, and bell. This seems pretty complicated at first, but I promise the more you do it, the easier it gets. Now the way you want to play your clarinet, first you got to make sure your posture's okay. So I got a chair right here. In this chair, I am kind of sitting on the edge of it right here, and I've got both feet flat on the floor. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that I have the clarinet kind of at a lower angle like this, not up here, not to the side, but just kind of in front of me and kind of low. And now we're going to play our first sound. And to make sure that we can get a good first sound, we got to make sure our embouchure is okay, which is the way our lips and teeth and our mouth shape across the whole mouthpiece. So first and foremost, what you want to do, bottom lip over your bottom teeth, and then what you want to do is you want to place the reed right there, and you only want to take in a little bit of the mouthpiece, a very little bit. Don't take the whole thing in the mouth. That's gross. That's weird. You just want to take a little bit. You don't need that much mouthpiece to play clarinet. Some of you out there might be experienced with saxophone. You don't need as much mouthpiece as saxophone. Just take a little bit, and once you've got bottom lip over the teeth, you can take your top teeth and place it on top of the mouthpiece like this. And what you want to do is you kind of want to make a face. It's kind of hard to explain, but you want to take your chin down and you want to bring the ends of your mouth in like this. So, like this. And bring it in. That way, if I take the mouthpiece out, kind of that thing. And then once you've got that down, what you do is you just kind of put air into it. You take a deep breath. And there's your first sound. And then once you start getting used to putting air through and fixing your embouchure, lot easier to play. Yeah, something like that. Now when you're holding it, you always want to make sure that your thumb is underneath the thumb rest right here. And when you play, you want to make sure that you're covering the tone holes. There's a bunch of holes up and down the clarinet. And even though there's keys above them, and when you press them, they block off other things that, change the pitch and whatnot. You're only really going to get the real change in pitch if you fully cover the hole, the physical hole in the actual clarinet. And if you don't do that, you're going to squeak a lot. You're not going to get the right pitch. You might be flat or something like that. Just make sure you're always covering the tone holes. If I don't cover this back one back here, for example, and I'm like a little bit off, see what it sounds like. This is me covering it. This is me not covering it. I see you guys squeak, and that's not good. Make sure you cover all the holes. Make sure your posture is good. Think about your embouchure, and put some hand through. And that's about all you need to know to put your clarinet together and get your first sound. Thank you for watching.